UIM F1H20 World Championship season headed to the Far East and the People's Republic of China as Zhengzhou hosted its first ever Grand Prix Round 2 of the 2023 season. The city of Zhengzhou is a futuristic metropolis located on the Yellow River Basin. It is the birthplace of the ancient Chinese people and language. It's also where the ancient martial art of Kung Fu originated. F1H20 teams had a chance to visit the Shaolin Monastery, the cradle of Shaolin Kung Fu. The monastery complex is annually visited by thousands of pilgrims and students who come here to train in the ancient arts of Kung Fu and Tai Chi. The F1H20 family was treated to a riveting demonstration of Kung Fu and Tai Chi, and they also had the opportunity to practice it themselves. The monastery complex is renowned architecturally and spiritually, and is to this day an active site for the adherents of Chan Buddhism. The city of Zhengzhou also has its share of historical temples dotted throughout its cutting-edge infrastructure and dazzling skyscrapers. The city would host the 26th UIM F1H20 event in China over the last 22 years, as thousands gathered along its shores to watch the Grand Prix of Zhengzhou unfold. Locals had their own team to cheer for, the formidable CTIC China, attracting extra attention at the event. Now let's take a look at the previous round in Indonesia. The 2023 season of the UIM F1H20 World Championship fired into life in a brand new venue on Lake Toba for the Kopiko Grand Prix of Indonesia. Lake Toba sits in the ancient caldera of a supermassive volcano, and high winds and tricky conditions delayed the qualifier until the final race day. It was Polish ace Bartek Marszalek who trumped the field to take the pole position spot for the first time in his F1H20 career. Defending champion Sean Torrente of Team Abu Dhabi would start second, with the newly returned victory team's Eric Stark in third. The president of Indonesia, Joko Widodo, was there to meet the drivers and kick off an 18-lap race truncated due to the rough conditions. As the field powered off the pontoon, Sean Torrente was too quick and jumped the start. He led down to the commitment buoy, but Bartek Marszalek held on, stuffing it into that first turn and keeping his lead. Eric Stark maintained third, but behind him was Sami Celio. The Flying Finn kept it tight on the inside lane back around the first lap and deftly snuck up on Eric Stark. Celio had the speed and took third from Stark before heading to the left-hander. Marszalek was in the 50th race of his life and his first time in the lead, chased by defending champion Torrente, who was as yet unaware that he would receive a penalty. With just a few laps to go, Sharjah team's Ferdinand Zandbergen barrel rolled and the race was yellow flagged. By the time the course was cleared, there was just one lap to go. At the green flag, Team Abu Dhabi's Sean Torrente attacked on the outside. Torrente passed Marszalek and expertly took that right-hander, sealing the deal, Torrente moving into the lead. Torrente crossed the line first, but a post-race penalty due to the jump start dropped him down to 9th. So, Bartek Marszalek was number 1, a career first. Celio was second with 15 points on the board, and victories. Eric Stark celebrates his return to F1H20 with a podium and 12 points. Bartek Marszalek fought hard for years, and finally he got his due, with the president of Indonesia handing him the winner's trophy. There were 20 drivers from 10 teams competing at the Grand Prix of Zhengzhou. Coming off a fresh win in Indonesia and walking tall was Polish ace Bartek Marszalek of Stromoy Racing, sitting at the top of the championship standings. His long years of absolute dedication and determination finally paid off with his first race win. Could he be a championship contender?
I don't have any pressure. This number 1 came naturally in my life, so it was nice story because I stepped on the podium 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 3 times in a row. I hope, and I really will do my best to stay in the field of top drivers, because this is finally my place.
His teammate Marit Stromoy is the team principal, and the Norwegian is part of an elite group of Grand Prix winners on the tour. Trailing 5 points behind Marszalek was Sami Selio of Team Sharjah. The two-time world champion's previous season was plagued by a string of mishaps. The veteran is eager to get back to his winning ways.
Last race, yeah, it was really good. Of course, the minimum target for us didn't be always in the podium, and we did it. Of course, we always want to win and get the maximum points, but second, we are very pleased for that, and let's now to focus for the top place on the podium.
His teammate Ferdinand Zandbergen won his first pole position and finished 5th overall last year. All eyes will be on China's CTIC team, who are 3rd in the team championship. Their principal driver, Frenchman Peter Marin, is a tough, hard-charging racer who narrowly missed the podium in Indonesia in 4th. He is hungry for a first win. The pressure is now on.
Last race we finished 4th position, so it was very nice position for the team to start the season. And now this is our home circuit, so we have to do the best thing we can do.
His rookie teammate, American Brent Dillard, made a superb debut, finishing 6th in Indonesia, and his valuable points moved the China CTIC team into 3rd in the team championship. Victory team's return with star driver Eric Stark paid off with a podium finish in the last round. Eric Stark is 3rd in the championship, and his goal is nothing less than the championship crown.
Very happy with Indonesia. Very happy with what the team did, and both for me and the team being on way for a few years. So of course it's putting more pressure now for this race, but I feel comfortable, and the boat is good and the team is good.
His teammate is Emirati Ahmed Al Fahim. The rookie managed to nab a point in the opening round. The defending champion is Team Abu Dhabi's Sean Torrente. The jump start in Indonesia knocked him back to 9th overall, but fighting back from behind is his comfort zone.
Had too good of a start, I guess, on the initial start, but still came out 2nd, and then got the win on the last lap, I thought, and then not so much. So we're a little behind the 8 ball here. We've got a good package as usual. We'll just keep on going and go for wins and try to get back in the title hunt.
Torrente teams up with Rashid Al Khamzi, who replaces Thani Al Khamzi in the 2nd Team Abu Dhabi boat. Rashid Al Khamzi is a 2-time F2 world champion and has big shoes to fill here. Mad Croc Gilman Racing sees the return of experienced Australian racer Grant Trask to replace Alec Beckstrom. This will be Trask's 16th Grand Prix.
It's great to be back at the F1H20, and especially in a beautiful venue like China. It's great here. Good to be back in the boat after a 5-year stint out.
Teammate is Philip Roms of Finland, who put 4 points toward the team championship in the season opener. Team Sweden's Jonas Andersson doesn't have the might and resources of the other teams, but he swept a championship out from under them in 2021 and remains a big threat. He drives alongside Finnish teammate Kalle Vippo, who is still looking for a podium finish. The course in Zhengzhou is on a lake in the city. The winds can kick up suddenly on the 6-pin course with one yellow right-hander. It has a long, super fast straightaway that will test drivers' ability to keep those boats on the water. Victory Team's Ahmed Al Fahim got a taste of the dangers with a dramatic flyover in the first practice session.
So I did a couple of laps, and then I went back to change the prop, and I didn't know that new prop how it would react, and actually I started going fast from the 2nd turn, and suddenly I felt the boat was taking off, to be honest. It was too late to bring it down, and yeah.
He unfortunately crashed again on the same straightaway in the 2nd practice session. That took him out of the race for the weekend. qualifier race to determine the starting lineup, and pole position is divided into 3 sessions. In Q1, boats have 20 minutes to set their fastest lap, with the top 12 moving into Q2, who then have 15 minutes to determine the 6 fastest, who then move on to Q3, which runs for 10 minutes, at the end of which the fastest driver takes the coveted pole position.
For qualifiers, for sure it will be quite tricky because of the wind. It's come from everywhere and changed direction immediately.
Team China's Peter Marin set the pace early at 47.38 seconds and led the session. F1 Atlantic team's Ben Jelf put in over 20 laps but was nearly 5 seconds off the pace. His teammate, veteran Duarte Benavente, fared slightly better but was unable to make Q2 in 14th. Comparato F1's Brock Cohen was unable to break the 50-second barrier and was out in 16th. With just under 5 minutes to go, Marit Stromoy was in the precarious 12th cutoff position when Team China's Brett Dillard found his pace and shot up to 10th with a time of 48.88. Disappointment for Stromoy as she's knocked out, with Alberto Comparato just making Q2 in 12th.
In the long straight down, there's a gust of wind coming sometimes from the front and sometimes from the side. It makes my boat be very, it's always on the limit.
Maverick team Cedric Deguin, who would be hosting the next race in Macon, France, was back in 17th with a time of 50.79. His teammate Alexander Bourgeot was behind him in 18th. In Q2, Victory Team's Eric Stark was having engine issues and was out of the water before the end of the session. All eyes were on last round's pole winner Bartek Marszalek, but the conditions proved too hectic for him. China's Peter Marin had to overcome some engine issues to finish in 4th, while his teammate Brent Dillard could not break into the top 6, finishing 9th. Team Abu Dhabi's Rashid Al-Khamzi in his first F1H20 qualifier was in the top 6 for almost half the session until young Italian Alberto Comparato of Comparato F1 knocked the Emirati out in 7th. Mad Croc Gilman Racing's Grant Trask was having a stellar qualifier, running in P5 and trying to find more pace. He had a spectacular crash, flying end over end. Grant Trask was unhurt, and the session was yellow flagged.
I was pushing, Scott doesn't tell me the times, it's how he works, so we want to push for the best and get the best for the team. Unfortunately, coming into that lap, I thought I could possibly get, top 3 with that lap. As I was going to trim it in, there was no in trim, it was too late, I lifted off, but yeah. But I'm okay, the boat seems to be okay, hopefully the engine's okay, and then we can start the top 6 tomorrow.
His teammate Philip Roms was just under 0.2 of a second from qualifying for Q3 and would finish in P8. Q3, just 5 boats on the course. Sami Celio was in his element, with the rough conditions favoring the experienced veteran of the sport. The Finn set the fastest lap at 46.17, but was under investigation for impeding CTIC China's Peter Marin and would have his fastest lap deleted. Alberto Comparato was struggling with engine issues and eventually broke down on the course with just minutes to go, yellow flagging the session. When the green flag came up, boats had just under 2 minutes left. Jonas Andersson set a blazing lap time of 45.78, shooting up into P1. Defending champion Sean Torrente answered right back, running an incredible lap, beating the Swede by just 0.15 seconds. With just seconds to go before the checkered flag, Celio was about to start a hot lap, but Torrente blazed across his line, leaving the Finn in his spray. Torrente was investigated and had his fastest lap deleted. The defending champion bumped down to 4th.
That's what I'm talking about! Woo! What? What?
What is the problem, Claudio? I don't see nothing.
No, you drive. No, you cut the last dirt.
When?
Last. You maybe not since I.
No.
Sammy jumped completely.
I not see. I tell clear. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, but
And I definitely don't do it on purpose. I go for a lap.
With Celio and Torrente's fastest laps deleted, the pole position win went to Jonas Andersson. What a comeback for the Swede after a series of engine issues.
It's very, very difficult with the wind. It's changing the whole time, and it's like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's very, very bad. So I was just pushing when I needed, and today it was enough.
Local fans were thrilled as Team China's Peter Marin nabbed P2. Sami Celio started in P3, Comparato P5, and what a run for Trask, who would start in P6 if he can keep his engine. Zhengzhou welcomed the UIM F1H20 family with a lavish gala dinner as teams and drivers got the chance to unwind and enjoy some Chinese hospitality. Race day. As teams and drivers completed their final preparations, thousands gathered along the shores to watch the race. The race would be 35 laps with lighter conditions compared to the previous day. Rashid Al-Khamzi was just moments away from his first ever F1H20 race.
I'll start from position 7. I'll try to push hard to jump in the front. If I cannot, I'll save my place.
Pressure was on for CTIC Team China's Peter Marin to deliver for the local crowds. Could Jonas Andersson hold on to his pole position at the start with the caliber of drivers behind him? Starting grid, Andersson with the shortest line to the green buoy, Marin P2, Celio in third, Grant Trask in P6, his engine unchanged. Bartek Marszalek is in the middle of the pack in 10th. Behind him, Ferdinand Zandbergen, and Eric Stark has his work cut out for him back in 12th. Crews steady the boats and hold their lines to the commitment buoy. Just seconds to go now as crowds hold their breath. And the race is on. The field roars off the pontoon. CTIC China Team's Peter Marin has a great start. He blasts off, leaving Celio and Andersson behind. Sami Celio slips back as Sean Torrente pulls ahead to his starboard side. Andersson is now neck and neck with Marin in the drag race to the commitment buoy. Sean Torrente leads the field to the green buoy, but Andersson's pole position gives him the lead around the left-hander. Marin is pushing hard on the outside, but Andersson maintains the lead. Torrente P3, Celio P4. Comparato has fallen back with Grant Trask up in P5. But Rashid Al-Khamzi is now up 2 positions, challenging Trask on that long left-hander as the field turns back toward the finish line. Al-Khamzi seals in 5th spot and is now pushing up on Celio in P4. Behind them, Philip Roms has the speed on the outside lane and moves ahead of Alberto Comparato, who is down to P8 from 5th. Up ahead, coming up on the yellow right-hander, Sean Torrente has the speed on the outside in the battle for 2nd place with Peter Marin. He edges ahead of the Frenchman, stays wide on the left-hander, and surges ahead, locking in 2nd place. Back in 11th is Eric Stark. He has passed Zandbergen and is now hot on Marszalek's tail in a fight for 10th. Out front, Jonas Andersson has extended his lead with a huge gap to Sean Torrente, while the battle for 3rd is tight between Marin, Celio, and Al-Khamzi. Matt Kroc-Gilman's 2 boats are off to a great start. Trask P6, Roms P7. Meanwhile, CTIC China teammate American Brent Dillard is slipping back as he's passed by Bartek Marszalek, moving up to 9th. Next lap, Dillard loses a spot to Eric Stark, and then another one to Ferdinand Zandbergen, the American falling back to 12th. Eric Stark is on the warpath, now up in 10th, attacking Bartek Marszalek's number 77 boat for 9th place. Eric Stark's blue boat bobs and weaves, trying to find a way around the Polish ace, but Marszalek suddenly pulls off the racing line. Ferdinand Zandbergen tries to sneak by Stark, but the victory boat has the speed on the outside and shuts out Zandbergen. Bartek Marszalek has a problem. He pulls off the course, and his boat is dead in the water. He is out of the race. Out front, Jonas Andersson has a strong hold on the lead. Torrente is 2nd, and Marin is 3rd, but his radio man Schiap signals trouble. In just lap 6, Peter Marin slows down and heads back to the pontoon. Disappointment for CTIC China as Peter Marin drops out. Team Sharjah's Sami Celio moves up into podium position in third behind Sean Torrente. Grant Trask in his first race in 5 years is in P6, a superb comeback, but it doesn't last. In lap 15, his boat starts bouncing and the Aussie has to slow down and head back to the pontoon.
I lost the interim. The engine stuck full out. I can't ask for a better crew or a better team, so I'm happy. Even though we didn't finish the race, we know the boat's got speed and performance, so we take the positive away from this weekend. Cheers.
With Trask's exit, his teammate Philip Roms moves up into 5th position and pushes ahead up to Rashid Al-Khamzi, attacking him for 4th, chasing hard through the Emirati spray. Eric Stark joins in the battle for 4th from behind, trying to find a way around the fighting pair. Eric Stark swings around the left-hander, trying to pass on the outside, but Roms holds on to 5th. As the fight between Roms and Stark rages, they go wide on that buoy. Behind them, Ferdinand Zandbergen takes advantage, takes the turn much tighter, and passes both Roms and Stark in one fell swoop. What a move by the young Dutchman, up to P5 now from P11. Ahead of Zandbergen, his Sharjah teammate Sami Celio is trying to defend 3rd place from the aggressive Rashid Al-Khamzi. Rashid Al-Khamzi has the speed and pulls ahead on the straightaway, but Celio catches up and overshoots the turn. Both boats go wide. Zandbergen is there on the inside again, hugging that turn tight, followed by Roms. Zandbergen passes Celio into 3rd, and now Celio is neck and neck with Philip Roms, his old teammate. Roms has the inside lane and the speed. With just 10 laps to go, Zandbergen is now in 3rd. Philip Roms is chasing on the inside lane, and Celio and Rashid barrel in from the outside. Eric Stark is chasing in their spray. It's a 5-boat fight for P3. Roms and Celio are deadlocked in a battle for P4, zooming toward that right-hander. Roms has the advantage. Roms keeps P4. Celio is in trouble. He's falling back and is passed by Stark now. Stark now up in P5. And Marit Stromoy comes in out of nowhere. Sami Celio gets some air, but keeps it under control. Stromoy passes Celio on the inside and keeps going. She attacks Rashid Al-Khamzi. Khamzi on the inside. He tries to rally, but the Norwegian veteran is too fast. She shuts him out and leaves him in the spray and speeds away. Now up in P6, up from P13. Meanwhile, Sami Celio is pulling off the course.
Boat is broken, so nothing what you can do.
His boat suffers irreparable damage. The port side sponson ripped open. He is out. What a race for his young teammate Ferdinand Zandbergen, now on his way to a podium finish. A complete reshuffle just laps before the end of the race. Roms now up to P4, followed by Stark, then Stromoy and Al-Khamzi in P7. Meanwhile, Jonas Andersson never let up on his pace. With a massive gap to Torrente, the Swede led from pole to pole and takes a glorious win here in China. Torrente is back in the game, finishing in 2nd. And the comeback of the day is Ferdinand Zandbergen, moving up 8 positions to finish 3rd. What a race for the young Dutchman. And on the last lap, Victory Team's Eric Stark doesn't let up the attack and passes Roms on the final turn to take 4th place, picking up some extra points for Victory. Anderson takes 20 points. Stromoy up to P6 from 13. Great inaugural race for Al-Khamzi in 7th. Vitbo gets 2 points on the board for Team Sweden. Dillard salvages 1 point for CTIC China team.
Even though I've given away 2 poles this year, that was the best start I've had in 2 years, and that feels good. We've been working on it, and we're finally starting to see some results. But the bad part is because I had to start 4th, I had to start small propeller. I wanted to jump a couple people, which worked, but then I was just too small once we were going, and Jonas had legs, and I didn't have anything for him, and I knew it, so I just was maintaining and take my 15 points, and let's keep it moving.
I was so afraid the last 5-6 laps.
Yeah, me also. Please. Yes.
A strong finish from Team Abu Dhabi puts them at the top of the team championship standings, separated by just 1 point from Team Sharjah. And Marit Stromoy's P6 finish puts Stromoy Racing in 3rd.
I'm super happy. I started 11 and I ended third. So I was never expecting that. So I'm super happy.
Well, we didn't have anything for Jonas today, but that's okay. 15 points. We're back in the championship hunt and keep it moving.
Yeah, I almost missed the start because I had the wrong setup today of my engine. I could have been faster, but we made a safe choice and it was not correct. But okay, maybe correct because we win, but it was a hard one in the start. I really pushed to beat Peter to the first turn. After it was just a smooth race.
In the overall standings, Jonas Andersson leads his fellow countryman Eric Stark by 2 points, Bartek Marszalek in third, and Torrente now up in fourth. Philip Roms is seventh, 2 points ahead of Peter Marin in eighth. It is shaping up to be one of the most competitive seasons in F1H20 history. That brings to a close the Grand Prix of Zhengzhou in China as the UIM F1H20 flag passes to the hosts of the next round in Macon, France. See you there for round 3 of the 2023 UIM F1H20 World Championship.